Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is day 3 of 365 days of creating a short story so I can become a better storyteller, better writer, better artist. Everything in this story is unedited. All my hesitations, all my stutterings, everything, you will get all that embarrassing stuff in this video, in these videos. And yeah, so without further ado, this story is called Edge of the Land. A bustling city, the streets of downtown Chicago. Each direction, there were tourists and residents enjoying the largest food festival in the country. Multiple sounds swam throughout the air. Horns from traffic jams, commotion of the crowds, and the music from live concerts. Someone slipping through the crowd, stretching and contorting to get through on the other side. A hand reached above the sea of people, holding a paper basket of food. He didn't want to waste it on the ground because some rude person knocked it over. Politeness wasn't a virtue. Off in the distance, he seen an empty bench. This was his next destination. The paths opening and closing quickly as the crowds of people randomly shifts trajectory. Relief swiftly the relief swiftly directed him towards the large formed exit. It slowly collapsed, pushing himself through. He shouted, "Excuse me," at the top of his lungs. Not here. Polite gestures, polite gestures often got absorbed into the commotion. Closer he treaded. Finally, he's liberated himself from the unforgiving sea of people. The sound of keys jangled slightly, juggling to secure his spot. He plopped down, meal still in hand. With his free hand swooped into his pocket, a faint light pierced through his jeans. Out poured the light, as revealing a device. It was just the light from his phone. Bzz, bzz. The muffled sound vibrated. Hello? Tearing off a piece of gator. Steam poured out, quickly subsiding. I'm sitting at the bench by the entrance of the beam, chomping off another bite, he said. Off in the distance, a man waved. Off in the distance, a man waved his hands, trapped at the edge of the overflowing sidewalk. The eager eyes glued to the routing traffic light. An eruption of green signaled permission to proceed. A quick glance of acknowledgement followed, scarfing down the last bit. Delving into his backpack, he pulled out a paper towel, lightly scrubbing sauce from his hands and mouth. The men simultaneously extended their arms, their hands for embrace. This is Diana, extending her the same level of respect. He extended her the same level of respect. How was the event, bro? Looking back at the crowd, I ate some gator. It was cool. Other than that, I'm glad to be outside of that never ending, forever thickening crowd of people. Gator, huh? That's unique. Diana glared through the crowd, nodding in disapproval. Mike's face recoiled. Bro, y'all need to try eating vegan for a week. Diana stopped in front of Jeremiah. I heard you wanted to visit the mounds. Their eyes met. I can drive us there. Hours later, they're on the road. The scenery shifts from buildings to miles and miles of green flatlands. I take it you also believe the earth is flat? She grinned, but never took her eyes off the road. I've read stories and it is interesting. No one was ever willing to enter the mounds with me. Mike leaned forward. If we think about it, we've never seen the outside of Earth. Just listening to social media takes. A weird, abnormal bulge in the earth appeared out in the vast miles of land. It resembled a bruise. The wheels turned. They drove along the dusty trail leading to the mound. It seemed to grow in size the closer they got. Full stop, the doors flung open. Multiple lights beamed up and down and up and back down the mound. The lights ran along the lights ran along the bottom, and entrance seemingly appeared out of nowhere. Someone forced their way in. The sun fully lowered. The tunnel the tunnel the tunnel, no, an aged hallway. The walls were coated in gold and other precious metals. The lights ripped through the darkness. The floors had weird geometric shapes. The silence of the hall was heavy. They teased. They tensed up. Up ahead, a door. Mike gently pressed his hands against the wall, searching for some kind of lever. A shimmering light from Diana's peripheral vision. A rope like lever. She reached for it, using the ledge of the wall as a ladder. The walls showed a story of a person entering the mound and falling into an opening into a second world. Their faces cringed, yanking the rope, a sound of large rocks retracting. The floor was agape. They fell in, splashing into the water below. Thrashing through the water, they called out for one another. Mike noticed a large boat cutting through. He swam over. He pulled himself up the ladder, the water shifting around them, gargling and gargling against the hull and the churning of the propeller. The splashing continued. They noticed a shadowy figure growing larger and larger. Get in, is Mike, peeking his head over the boat. First, a hand grabbed on to the top of the ladder. Mike extended his hand, pulling Diana upwards. Next, Jeremiah pulled himself up. The hell? Where did you get a boat? A vast tunnel with hieroglyphics was revealed. Their phones were water damaged, so they couldn't record any of the marvels they were witnessing. It's telling a story. See, Adam and Eve, the man falling, the earth splitting, and the edge. Translucent, pulsating walls phase translucent, pulsating walls phase through the boat. What is that? A bright, blinding light overtook their vision. They were transported to an unknown place. The sun was back out. The sun was back out and high in the sky. The water was clear. I gotta stop smoking, bro. Where are we? They were being monitored by the jungle. Large fins crashed into the water. A flock of very large bird-like creatures flew overhead. The current carried them to a vast ocean. Soon, the surrounding land disappeared. I think we made a mistake. Hours later, they awoke to a chill, walls of ice scattered throughout the water. The ship crashed into a snowy ground. I guess it's time to exit. Mike inquired cautiously. They stepped down. There's nothing but snow and tree like icicles. The crash of rushing water grew louder and louder. They found it, the edge of the world. It's unlike anything they had in mind. It was like a universal laboratory. Raw elements and lights were suspended in the center, actively being edited like a Photoshop video. Those weird shapes from the halls were like geometric grids. They were in awe. They didn't even notice the steps creeping up behind them. Wait. They didn't know. Wait. Okay. They didn't know the steps creeping up behind them. Nice view, ain't it? Now, savor this moment because it's going to be your last. This is not for fame. This is to document consistency.